One of the most difficult challenges that I've personally faced in sales is on how do you identify the customer needs. We all know one thing, that every customer would have a requirement and a need, and otherwise he wouldn't have walked into the store at the very first time, or wouldn't have given you a call if it's a B2B, or wouldn't have responded to your prospecting note. If he has responded, that means he has a requirement. The thing is that how do you understand customer need? How do you identify his need? Of course, we'll go and we'll ask the customer. But when we ask, as a salesperson, when I go and ask the customer, he does not tell. Does he share? Does he tell the real need? Does he share the concern that he has with the existing machines? Does he tell you that the breakdown of the existing machines is too high? Does he tell you that his organizational productivity index is lacking behind his competitors? Does he tell these things to you? He won't. He simply won't tell you. The challenge is that how do you get the customer to really talk to you? Take an IT company. Very often, these IT companies the clients will send an RFP, and then the salespersons will respond to the RFP. And whereas, so the whole work is happening in the confines of the RFP, though before making the RFP, the customer would have in any case interacted. There would be a customer who would have interacted here with some consultants and all. But the thing is that this way of working doesn't help the salesperson deliver the best to the customer. It doesn't work this way. The salesperson has to be engaged with the customer. When would a customer talk to you? The question is that when would a customer talk to you? When would he talk to you freely? When would he tell you exactly what his concerns are? He would only do that when he develops trust in you. What do you mean by trust? The big question is, what do you mean by this trust? Trust would translate into meeting commitments, trust would translate into the salesperson is keen to help me resolve my issues and not only sell and then vanish from here. And the trust, if you see behind this, is what? Does the salesperson have adequate amount of knowledge and experience? Or at the back end, is he depending on someone else to give me the inputs? The other is that from the meeting commitments, does the salesperson can he really, does he have the organizational support to serve me and my company needs? Understand, the way it is going is that in a B2C sale, it's a different environment, but in a B2B, it's like there is a organization here which is represented with a myriad of departments. Lots and lots of functions and departments are there. Yeah, and one of those is the sales. In this department, there's a structure. There is one per of those is you. Same at the customer side. There is a customer who's interfacing with you, who is a part of a department, which is only one of the departments in the large organization. So how do you get to these? How can you talk? How can you develop trust not only in the customer but also so that the customer, if he decides in your favor, would the choice would be such that it works for the benefit for the customer's organization and the salesperson organization. This is extremely tricky. It is extremely tricky. It goes a long way to for the salesperson to establish this trust. So therefore, what I always say is that Once a salesperson has dialogued intensively with the customer, um, whatever happens, never lose the trust. But then the question here is that how do you identify the customer needs? Certain organizations say that, certain training formats say that you got to ask them a lot of questions and all that. But the thing is that questions are boring. What is interesting is stories are interesting. A salesperson must be a very, very good storyteller. And therefore, when we are looking at identifying customer needs, um, the salesperson's discussion has to go something like this. Hi, good morning. Happy to meet you, Joan. How are you doing today? Oh, good, good. Um, we are just doing well. Thanks for coming. We just wanted to discuss a little about these hydraulic systems which you are supplying. Yeah, sure, Joan. These hydraulic systems have been um, custom designed for various customer needs. Do you know that even the large cranes which are working there work on our hydraulic system as well as the small ones which are here in the dozers? They are also working on our hydraulic systems. So the important thing is that while we design the hydraulic systems, we have to take care of the customer load requirements and the working conditions in which the equipments are working. Sure. So, so just tell me a little more about your hydraulic systems. Of course, we use specific pipes which are of very high quality steel, and the lubricants which we suggest to be used in our systems are ones which are available everywhere, including globally. So, the in case of so normally we have got very less downtime of the equipment because of some failure of the hydraulic system or some maintenance which is required. So our focus always has been on the uptime so that the work doesn't suffer. Let me take a name of two of the companies, X and Y, which have worked with me very closely, and we have designed the solutions. They are our long-term clients. We would also wish you to be having a long-term view with our organization. But tell me a little about what kind of requirement is very clear in your mind, and also let me know as to why would you try to shift away from the existing operator that is supplying you the specific, which is basically your supplier now. Oh well, you have asked me two questions. Let me say that the reason why we are looking for supplier movement to other suppliers is a part of our corporate strategy. We want to diversify our risks. Okay. And from the other side of it is you have asked me on what is the requirement. So we are looking for organizations which can scalably fulfill our needs, because we want to increase the production, and when we are increasing production, one of the things is that the hydraulic systems there should be adequate number of suppliers so that our risk is mitigated from this system, and you know how very critical a hydraulic system is. Yeah, sure. I appreciate you telling me all this, Johan. But and thanks for that. But any more specifics? Do you have any specific machines in mind? Do you have any quantities in mind? Are there locations in mind in which you would like some kind of responses? How do you normally go about selecting your vendors whom you want to work with? Is there a specific approach? Yeah, but before that, why don't you tell me a little more about your technical capabilities? Of course. Thanks for asking that. My organization. So that's how you go about. That's how you go about making a sale. Because making a sale, very important to making a sale is the concept that the salesperson has to be a very good conversationalist and a very good storyteller. Only when you are like this, you will be able to build trust in your customer, and then it will further take it into a positive direction. The call would move in a positive direction. Understand that you cannot have a unilateral question and answer session. The whole thing is about conversation, and as we have talked earlier, meaningful dialogue, which is powered by adequate amount of knowledge, understanding, and a strong capability in the salesperson. So when you're talking of identifying customer needs, do everything that is required to build the trust, And having done everything required to build the trust, it's very important for you to get into the act of storytelling and have a very meaningful conversation with the customer. Remember, never, never, never ask questions. I can assure you, without building adequate trust, which is normally not there in the beginning, a customer will never respond accurately to your question. Okay, so do get in touch with me at contact metl@metl.in. Thank you.